Hey guys, it's Benjamin with Benjamin Exotics, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 3 of the newest DIY ball python rack additions. Hopefully you guys can see them in the view of the camera right now, and hopefully by the end of this video, I give you guys a bunch of really cool tips, tricks, and ideas for building your own DIY ball python snake racks. Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 3 of the newest additions, I should say newest ball python rack additions that have been added to the reptile room, kind of go over the tub sizes, kind of why I picked these different racks, and kind of just give you guys a little update on the room. I know a lot of people have been asking for a, reptile room update, and this isn't a complete room update. You guys are normally filming on this side of the room. That's kind of like where most of the snakes are right now, but except for the baby tubs, which are of course empty because we basically sold out for the year. Besides the baby tubs, practically this entire section is full, as you can see from the tags. So we're kind of moving on to this side, and I've started filling up this rack, and we have a bunch more additions, or I should say a bunch more ball python additions specifically, getting shipped in over the next few weeks. So we're going to be utilizing this space, and of course when we get more babies, that will be space we'll be using as well, which is the 6-quart Sterilite tubs. So let's just get straight into this video and kind of show you guys the ins and outs of these 3 awesome, actually really incredible DIY racks. And just for a quick overview of the tub sizes and how many tubs are able to be held by each rack, this tub all the way on the left, built out of melamine with the wheels on the bottom. This is basically a 28-quart Sterilite tub rack, and this actually holds 12 units. You can actually hold 12 tubs in that rack. This one in the middle right here, these are the 32-quart blue latching Sterilite tub, something like that. I know they're 32 quart, and this is not completely done, as you can see, but you can kind of see the levels, and when this is done, this will be able to hold basically 9 levels of tubs, and with 3 on each, this rack completed will be able to hold 27 of the 32 quart tubs. And then this right here, which is the baby rack, these are the 6 quart, just standard snap-on lid Sterilite tubs. When this rack, or I should say this rack is completed, but built and configured the way it is in this height, so there's basically an 8-foot wall going up the side of the room. This completed is able to hold 36 of those baby 6-quart Sterilite tubs. So this is the first one that I've got right here, and this is kind of the traditional style that I've been using for a long time, where we basically just take, this is a 28-quart Sterilite tub, put it on the melamine. We actually route out the heat tape on the back. I don't know if you can see, but all the way back there, you can kind of see almost, if it'll focus, it's actually routed out into the board. It keeps unfocusing, but basically you guys can see we just make a little bit of an indentation in the board, and the heat tape lays in there. We've also done, like on these racks, we actually have the instead of being basically routed in, or routing the back of the melamine, we put a piece of aluminum flashing, which also seems to work pretty well. It does buzz sometimes if it touches it just right, if the tub slides over it, and that makes a little bit of a noise, which can irritate the camera and the mic on the camera. So I've kind of cut back on that, and all these new racks, we're using out the routing method, where we route out the back so there's no extra noise that could cause problems with the video. So this rack right here, like I said, this is 28-quart Sterilite. This is perfect for basically sub-adults, even small adult females. So maybe something like, well, that's actually breeding. There's a pastel het clown. Small females like this that are maybe not quite big enough to lay eggs, or maybe they are, but they're just not quite ready for a 41-quart Sterilite. These 28-quart tubs are just perfect for females like that. And in this rack over here, the rack I'm talking about, we have a bunch of stuff in here, like pastel clown, male. Guys, not the best feeder, but he's pretty cool. And then the all kinds of other clown stuff, like this is a spinner het clown female from Regis Creations on Morph Market. That girl is really getting some size. She's been a little bit of a picky feeder for the last few months, but I'm 100% sure that once the weather outside gets a little bit better, she'll start eating more consistently. And of course we have, coral glows, Mojave spiders, etc. And then the last snake, the only snake that we haven't sold so far this year, is sitting up there waiting to go to his new home, which is of course Mojave spider and all kinds of other stuff in this rack. Now the biggest thing, and the thing that I really like that I implemented in this rack compared to the other racks that I've done, are the wheels. Okay, the problem with lots of these melamine racks that we have over here, like you can see, this is the 41 quart Sterilite, or the 28 quart Sterilite, which is the exact same tubs. Those tubs are the same as that. The problem with these racks is that if you want to move them, or if you want to move them around the room, or if a snake gets behind them, hopefully that doesn't, but if a snake gets out, something like that, okay, you have to actually, some of these racks I don't even think two people could move. We assembled them in place. We assembled them right here where they're going to stay. These racks are not going to move. Maybe the PVC, it's a little bit lighter, but these melamine are very heavy. So with this rack, like I said, we have wheels on the bottom. I think these are 4-inch caster wheels, something like that, and they can be easily wheeled around the room. So if a snake gets behind there for some reason, or we need to do something with the Herpstat, which we're running a Herpstat 1 basic right now, but I have a Herpstat 4 coming in to kind of connect all these racks together. Whatever we need to do, we can actually wheel the rack out, and kind of with these, the idea behind these muscle racks is that we'd actually just disassemble them and reassemble them pretty easily. Now let's actually kind of move back. So you guys have seen this, it's pretty standard as well. I'll show you the back, kind of, a lot of wiring right here. I do each individual slot with its own heat tape. You can do a big daisy chain, but if you do that in one shelving, or I should say one slot goes out, you lose power to your entire rack, and I just think it's kind of risky. And on the back right here, we have our little stoppers, and that's how most of the racks are going to be designed. Now using this is a little bit of a different style. This is actually a slightly bigger tub. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but these are 32 quart and these are 28 quart. So really stretching it, they're not that much bigger, but they're actually a little bit further back, and they're about 1 inch taller. So these are a lot better for your females. If you do have a small female that you're breeding in these type of tubs, it's a little bit better because they have, an inch and a half more space to actually coil up on their eggs, which is sometimes a problem that you have with these shorter tubs. And also for males, like male ball pythons, I think lots of our males are breeding right now, but what would happen is because the males see this little space for ventilation between the tub and the melamine, they'll see that and they'll start, rubbing their nose a bunch against this, trying to get out or trying to breed with the females, and you get problems with nose rub. And if they do it long enough, you'll actually get the nose rub to be so bad that the snake will have permanent scar tissue damage on the end of the snake's nose, leading to a deformed nose, and it's not a good situation. So with these tubs, because we're actually using the lid, unlike these tubs where we're kind of just, there's no lid, this is essentially acting as the lid. Not only does it make it a little bit easier to clean, so I don't have to actually come through and scrub the top of the melamine once or twice a month. It's easier to clean these lids, but also, if I have a problem snake that's really nose rubbing a lot, I've found you put them in one of these snap-on Sterilite quart tubs, whether it be, these are the 28 quart, or I think the 16 or 15 quart, put them in one of these with the snap-on lids. They don't see that space, and they don't think they can get out, and they normally stop nose rubbing immediately, and this just allows me to have a little bit more variety with the tubs. We're always kind of working with kind of this stagnant 28 quart tub, which is great, but now that I have these, it's a slightly different size, slightly taller, has the latching lid. It just gives me more versatility, so if I am having a problem feeder, I can switch them back and forth and find what works best for them. And then of course, these do not come, you can kind of see this is actually melamine, so it's the exact same material that is on that rack and all of those racks. This is my material of choice. You could also use something like PVC. It's not going to be maybe quite as strong as melamine. It'll certainly be more resistant, but it might not be able to take a beating quite as much. Maybe. It just depends what you're using it for. But I'm using melamine on this. They come with this, really crappy particle board like this, and I've noticed that when you rub this a bunch with the bottom of your tubs, it'll actually kind of discolor your tubs a little bit, and when you route this out, it releases a bunch of what I would consider really bad sort of toxic materials that actually are adhesives inside of the wood. So I'm going to scrap these. The only reason these are on here is because this rack is not currently in use, but all I've done, and the same thing I did with this rack, is you take those, throw them in the dump, don't use these boards with the heat, and I've just taken, you take, basically melamine board, you can put some of the coating on the outside of it, and then you route it out, put it on your rack, and you're done. You can actually see if you pull out one of these tubs, on the very back, same thing. We have to put the heat tape in, but there you go. Route it out in the back, no aluminum flashing or anything like that, just a pretty standard, simple design. And if I ever want to move one of these to a different location in the room or a different part of the building, whatever it might be, these are easily disassembled. There's no screws, there's no nothing. You just literally, you can kind of see, snap, place the board down, and go. It's very simple. Now this is the last one, like I said, not completely done. I wanted to get this video out because I had lots of people asking about the reptile room tour or just some updates on the racks we've been building, because I put some pictures on Instagram and stuff like that. This is, again, utilizing the 6-quart Sterilite tub, and this actually doesn't look very secure right now, because as you can see, there's quite a big gap, and if a snake would be to pop the lid off of this tub, there's not going to be enough. There's too much clearance. There's too much clearance, so the snake could, in theory, escape with these boards on the rack. But if we actually go back one more time over to this side of the room that you're probably a little bit more used to, I want to kind of have this system right here. So you see the tub? If the lid does get popped on one of these tubs and it's slid all the way back, see what it does? It hits the top of the melamine board just like that, and it doesn't allow for barely any space for the snake to escape. And as you guys can probably tell, this board right here is actually quite thin. It's not a very thick board, nowhere near as thick as the melamine is, and you can't even see the melamine right here. It's kind of covered by that, but it's not nearly as thick as this. So once I cut out some melamine and we put melamine on this monster of a baby rack, it'll actually bump these tubs up a lot more, so there won't be nearly as much clearance. So if a snake does pop this off, there won't be any chance of escaping, and that's kind of the plan right now. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this gave you guys a few ideas of what's going on with the Benjamin's Exotics. This is actually the ball python room. I also added some new smaller racks to the quarantine room, which I will show in another video sometime in the future. But hopefully this gives you guys kind of an idea of what we're doing right now with this room, and also hopefully if you guys are trying to build your own DIY racks anytime soon, this gives you guys some ideas and some options of what you can do for your own ball pythons. So overall, hope you guys did enjoy and most importantly benefit from today's video. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.